Good afternoon and welcome to Short Street. I want to recognize and thank Council Members Jake Gibbs, 3rd District Council Member who is here, and 1st District Council Member James Brown for joining us today. You know, everybody here knows that there's a lot of history packed into this mile-long street, Short Street. And this fall, it's going to have an opportunity to make history again when the Breeders' Cup comes to town. Short Street will be the focal point for the KentuckyOne Health Breeders' Cup Festival. So with the help of our partners, we have done a facelift. Flowers, benches, and painted sidewalks that are more pedestrian friendly. This is a pilot project. After the Breeders' Cup celebrations, we will involve the community in deciding whether the changes should be permanent. So let's hear more about these changes from Jeff Fugate, who is president of the Downtown Development Authority. The DDA, the Downtown Development Authority, coordinated the project. Jeff?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, as the Mayor said, company's coming. So, with that in mind, all eyes will be on Lexington here in about 9 weeks. And we started with a really simple premise. And when I say we, I actually mean Brandy Berryman, sitting right here. Brandy really is the brains, the inspiration behind this project. She took this, ran with it, and has been right there, should be standing here as opposed to me, really, is what I'm saying. But we started with a really simple notion. And that notion was that we're a world-class destination. We should have world-class streets. And we all know world-class streets when we see them, right? We know that they're the kind of places you run into in Charleston or Savannah, right? They don't have big flashy attractions, but they're the kind of place where you can get lost. You can walk around. You can spend hours strolling or dining or just hanging out, right? So with that in mind, what Brandy worked her magic on these 3 blocks is we expanded the areas you have to walk, right? So now you can get around a lot easier. We've shortened the crosswalks so that it's more safer for pedestrians. And as you watch, you'll see that people can get across this back and forth across the street a lot faster and easier than they used to be able to. We've added tables and benches so that you have a place to have lunch or conversation. You can just sit, enjoy the day, as some of our friends are over here. And with the help of our friend Mr. Carloftis and with American Bloom and with Parks and Recreation, a lot of other folks that really helped us with this, we brought the bounty of the bluegrass downtown. And we've taken what was a very gray street and made it a really lovely one. So we've done all of this as a prototype, as the mayor said. So enjoy it over these next few months. And let's be glad that fall has settled in early in the bluegrass. Late August is typically going to be a lot hotter. And so enjoy it now. We'll evaluate and address any problems in November once we've gotten past a couple of months. And now the thank yous, right? So this has been a great example of what happens when a lot of people pull together, work together, make something happen. And Brandy's had countless coordination meetings with folks. She's talked to so many folks, but we'll start with Keeneland, Jon Carloftis, American Bloom, and your volunteers. Early and ongoing support. They were with us at the beginning, and they'll be with us along the way. Commissioner Holmes and George Milligan. George, where'd George go? There he is. Mr. Milligan, who stood out here and dealt with traffic and paving contractors and angry merchants. Thank you, George. Traffic engineering and streets and roads were right there along the way to help us. Commissioner Reed and Kathy Mobley. Parks has been outstanding on this and will continue to be outstanding because they'll be out here watering these plants. Fire and police, which sometimes are invisible, but they're around here somewhere. Chief, or not chief, you're not chief anymore, used to be chief. Commissioner Bastian, thank you for their help. Brandy got the truck out this morning, in fact, and rode around with fire to make sure that the truck fit where it was supposed to. Farmers Market, Josh, you've worked with us, and you've been great to work with on that, and we've gotten great feedback on the new arrangement at Farmers Market on Saturday morning. Parking Authority has been helpful. And I also have to shout out to David O'Neill and Mary Jo, who became our impromptu public relations firm on Facebook when we started to roll this out. So thank you for that. Finally, I do want to thank the merchants. I saw Debbie and I saw Bob around here and others, who've put up with the disruption. But I guarantee you October is going to be worth it. So with that, thank you all. And I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
Okay. Hey, thanks a lot, Jeff. Now next we have, Jeff's already mentioned, special partner that we are thanking today, and that is award-winning garden designer Jon Carloftis. Jon gave us the plants and worked with Ann Garrity. Ann, And Ann's here today too, and our local America in Bloom volunteers. And Jon, I'm going to ask you to make your way up here and a few comments. I know that you're going to be willing to. There you go. Thanks.
Well, I just want to say, we've moved back here full time after being gone since 1988, and I saw what had happened in New York, what a change it made by when they created more pedestrian-friendly streets. People would just fly by on 23rd Street, and now people slow down. People are always worried about people getting hit, but you know what? I've thought about it, and you run into one of these, you're going to know it. Those things are heavy, but it just changes the city. And just like where we are right now, to me, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to Lexington, where we're sitting right now, and having this Thursday night live, and it extends into Friday, and you see people walking around, and they're drinking and eating, and they're enjoying the life and conversating with others. It's just the best thing that ever happened. It makes it feel like a real city, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And this Short Street renovation is just another layer that I think everybody's going to learn to love. And if you don't like parallel parking, that 1, 2, 3 parking is the greatest. So again, just happy to be a part of it.
Thanks, Jon. And we got one more parking space out of that. So the changes on Short Street have, of course, affected businesses on the street. I got an email just the other day from Jim Johnson, who is with Freeland Harris Consulting Engineers. They have an office in the Lexington building just down the street at 201 Short. Jim couldn't be here today, but Larry Antle and Eddie Alexander are here representing the firm. Now I want to read a bit of Jim's message. He said this: when we purchased our office space about 10 years ago, there was really nothing special about this part of town. And boy, has that changed. The addition of the pavilion that Jon was just talking about, the opening of Shorty's, the dozen or so new restaurants on or near Short Street have made this little corner of town a great spot. The recent repainting and striping of Short Street has made this even better. The cars are traveling a little slower, the street parking is easier to access, and the green pedestrian zones are welcoming to all. Short Street is really the place to be. Thanks. Now, one of the business owners that Jeff mentioned, Shorty's, is here today. Bob Estes, tell us how these changes are working for you. Bob Estes, there we go.
Well, actually the building behind me is Parlay Social. I've owned that since '08, which was a little bit before the World Equestrian Games. And we've had great partnership with the World Equestrian Games to create this great pavilion that Jon brought up. It was the beginning of a lot of change for Short Street. And a great example of public and private going together, just like it is today with, and Vince Gabbert's here with Keeneland. Bringing the Breeders' Cup here is spurred a lot of motivation for projects like this, and we've been actually working on this project since last fall. I know Brandy in the planning stages, so it doesn't happen overnight, but it's great to have big events like this to showcase our city. I couldn't be more proud of where we've grown since '08, and I grew up here, so we all have a great city to be proud of. The streetscape will have some growing pains as we go through it. The nice thing about it is a pilot program, and the city is seeking public input to make changes as we go, so we can make it a better project that'll be long lasting, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I would encourage folks to spend time and enjoy the downtown. It's a fabulous place to be this fall. We all know what's coming up, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. Thanks for this project, Mayor, and the council supporting it, and I hope we see many more of these to come. Thank you.
Bob, thanks a bunch. Next, I've asked Kip Cornet and Vince Gabbert, who are here today, to give us some updates on the festival and the Breeders' Cup. Now, Kip, you've got plans for music, broadcasts of the races, art exhibits, special food. I know these improvements to Short Street are going to make the festival even more fun. Can you share with us a little what's going on?
Sure.
going to be
Thanks,
going
Mayor.
on?
Thanks. Well, it seems like it wasn't that long ago that there was a big banner that got slapped on the side of that building for the Breeders' Cup. And we had 3 great partners to start with to build this festival around. Obviously, Keeneland and the courage it took to step up the plate and do that. Obviously, the Breeders' Cup to have the confidence that they had in us to host it as a city. And the city itself and the contributions that they have. And since that banner went on the building, there's been about 40 of your fellow citizens, many that are scattered out here in the audience today, as well as about 30 sponsors that have worked together to build a festival week with one real purpose in mind, and that's to make sure we win this thing back. We don't want this to be a one-hit wonder. We want this to be something that the city can look forward to, hopefully every 4 or 5 years, if Keeneland wants to have it back, of course, and we think they will. But over the last several months, there's 40 of your fellow citizens, corporate citizens, that have stepped up and helped us put together what we think is going to be a hell of a show. And whether it's Short Street, whether it's Cheapside Pavilion, or all parts of downtown, there's going to be a set of programming in a week. Right now, just to give you some quick facts, over 32 bands will be performing outdoor and live. Wind, rain, snow, whatever, we'll have everybody out here. There will be art exhibits that will be taking place in different venues around. And I think one of the things that Bob and others touched on about the World Equestrian Games, I think one of my favorite memories, besides the entertainment itself, was the ability for people to walk around downtown. The energy that a festival zone creates with what Short Street is becoming, that's huge. And people being able to go from venue to venue, to be able to go to Courthouse Plaza and listen to a band, or go to Cheapside and have a cocktail. So I would encourage you all to go to our website, shameless plug, breederscupfestival.com, that will give you details on all the activities that we're going to have during that week. And trust me, I know it's a cliche, but we really do feel like that we've provided a lot of activities for any taste, whether it's music, art, etc. So at the end of the day, just my closing ask of you all is realize we are going to be guests. We're going to be entertaining a lot of guests. Let's make sure we've built programming to support that. But at the end of the day, Mary Quinn said it, it's about the smile, it's about the friendliness that we know that we can provide. So help us not only put on a great show for ourselves as well as our guests, but make sure we get it back. Thanks.
Thanks, Kip. And next I'd like to ask Vince Gabbert to join me here at the podium. Vince is Senior Vice President at Keeneland and has been a partner in the work here on Short Street, along with VisitLex, our Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I want to thank Mary Quinn Raymer, who is also here today. Vince, we're all curious about the latest update from the Breeders' Cup. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Quick story, many of you may not know this, but when Keeneland was formed in the mid-30s, when you look back at all of our founding documents, one of the largest concerns of our founding members was that if Keeneland, based on the site that it chose, would take energy and business and economic development away from downtown. Of course, a 5-minute drive out Versailles Road was a lot longer in the mid-30s than it is today, except when you have the traffic that we have out there. But one of the enduring parts of our mission has always been a redevelopment, a reinvestment of our dollars back into the community. And we are so excited about our partnership that we're able to do here on Short Street as part of this pilot project, as part of that mission, and fulfilling that and reinvesting those dollars that we make here back within the community. We're now just a little over 64 days away from the world coming to Keeneland for Breeders' Cup, in addition to the people that always come here for our sales in September and November. We are extremely excited. The preparations are well underway. We're actually down into a lot of the small details on things, as you all might imagine. It's going to be a fabulous event for this community, and we are afforded things and being able to do things that the Breeders' Cup has never seen at other locations that they've done, and it gives the city an opportunity to do some things that they've never done. Much like we saw with the World Equestrian Games, sometimes you need an excuse to to do stuff. So Breeders' Cup's kind of our excuse right now to do a lot of things, and this pilot project is a good example of that. So we're very excited about the preparations. We had our release yesterday that many of you may have seen about our park and ride location, so that we are providing a good seamless transition and transportation for all of our guests, no matter where they come from or where they happen to be sitting at the track on those days. So we encourage everybody not only to participate in the festival, but everything that Breeders' Cup is going to offer us that week, as well as all the events that we have all fall for our racing and sales season. So thank you all very much.
Thanks a lot, Vince. Okay, before we cut the ribbon, I'll give the media a chance for any questions that you guys have for us, or we can catch you later. All right? Okay, we'll catch you later then. Now for the ribbon cutting. Brenna, tell us where to go. So what Brenna said is, why don't you say it?
All right.
I'm not going to try to repeat.
Okay, camera folks, if you want to position yourselves on the other side of the podium here, that'll be a good spot to watch everyone cut the ribbon. John, Mary Quinn, Dan Garrity, need you to come forward. Now, like the mayor says, crowd the winner's circle. Oh my goodness, okay.
Hey, oh, good.
Yeah, come here, Councilman. Get up here. Hop up here.
Bonafide. How about that?
We understand.
All right.
You ready? You want to give us a count?
And smile. Look up here and smile.
You going to count?
Okay. I think you can count.
No, you can count. Give us.
Okay. And 3, 2, 1.